and that went viral, where you said about you not wanting your son to participate in this contest. We had Miss Ringside just ask the question. And she asked the question, I thought I would have to go straight to the horse's mouth, and that is the king in you, sir. And did you know anything prior about this, or you just wasn't happy about the weight situation?
I made it very clear 3 months ago that this fight isn't going to happen because he's my son. I've got to protect him. These people are attempting to murder that boy. And it's clear to me, but it's not to anybody else. If you are a fighter, if you've lived the life of a fighter, if you know what it is to lose weight, my son's being protected, and I've brought him up good in boxing. But, he doesn't want to listen. He wants to be the boss, and so I said, go ahead. I don't think you should have the fight. I think, you get the same money for fighting Liam Smith. Then you have Billy Joe Saunders. Then you have Canelo. That's your career. And these guys you can beat because you're a magnificent fighter. But unfortunately, Junior doesn't understand, doesn't believe in me. I believe in him, but he doesn't believe in me. And sadly, it's come to the point where, when you no longer care, it means, I've let go. He's, he manages himself and he looks after himself, and I say, fine. I've done nothing but gift this young man a career, a name, a face. The respect that I garnered from all those years, those 24 World Championship fights. Never mind the wins, just look at the losses. Look at the man that I had to be. And then what? I'm going to have my boy tell me how to do this? He's going to tell me he's boss?
Wow.
No, he just doesn't appreciate how good things have always been.
Wow. Silverspoon.
But, by now, and, I go and put you, look, you see, you've got people that, you aspire to be like. He picked Floyd Mayweather Jr. because he shows the bling, he shows the planes, he shows the money. He shows the girls, the clubs. I admire the man. He is a brilliant and fabulous fighter. I admire him as a fighter. As a man, don't talk to me about him. That's not, no, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, they're men. They lead by example. You're teaching my boy to be a bling bling kid. He's looking up to you, Mr. Mayweather. No. And so that's why he didn't listen. And now the world is looking at him as though he's a greedy little pig. And I tried to keep him away from that. But he wouldn't listen. And he said, yeah, I hear. Yeah, I'm going to feel. And I started go. Now,
what's good, family? It's your man, the YB, back once again. Big shout out to my doggy, Joe, Don, Nelly, for coming through and boosting the coin at 100%. So we just heard there from your man's Chris Eubank Sr. airing out his Silverspoon spoilt son. Now, off the rip, I do have to say that it's a difficult one as a man. Because listen, I'm broken down bad. So I see both sides of things here. And what I mean by I'm broken down bad is the fact that listen, let's call a spade here. Eddie Hearn is silver-spooned. Conor Benn is silver-spooned. Chris Eubank Jr. is silver-spooned. And when you are blatantly silver-spooned, let's not forget, people, Conor Benn and Chris Eubanks Jr.'s careers, they are literally, what's that word where you don't really earn things, you just do it because your father, I forgot the word it's called. Anyway, man, listen, essentially, you've got two types of ways of doing things. You've got meritocratic, is where you earn it. It might be something like kleptocratic, I'm not sure, but either way, the point is, meritocratic. Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn, they earned their careers meritocratically. Yeah? They got there on their own back. They won't know I'm putting them on. The opposite can be said for the children. So that's relevant because I feel when you've made it your own way, that gives you the right to be your own boss. Yeah? So, I mean, again, I'm broke. I haven't made, but whatever I've done in my life, yeah, of course, your parents support you, but whatever I've chosen to do in my life and been successful at, it's been off my own back as such. No one's passed me the game and put me on, if you get what I'm saying. So that's why I feel as an individual, I've got the right to do exactly what I want to do as a man, because I've done it all myself, if you get what I'm saying. The difference is, I know for a fact, yeah, if my dad, for example, let's say my dad, yeah, had a 3 million or a 10 million YouTube account, and he put me on through that, yeah? We've seen it many times. Look at KSI. KSI's got 20 million followers. His brother, naturally, jumps the clout. We see it all the time on social media. Family or friends, close family, end up big social media stars just because of the first guy to do it. KSI was big, his brother clocked on. Yeah? I believe in them situations, you do have to listen to the guy. Now, if Chris Eubank Jr. had made his own way, it's completely different. Chris Eubank Jr. would have the right to say, listen, Pops, I've done this off my own back, what would you know? But he hasn't done that. And to be quite frank, looking at Junior's career, he really does need to humble himself to his pops. Because literally, if Chris Eubank was any other man, a loss to Billy Joe, that would have been the end of his career, more or less. Certainly the loss to George Groves would have been. That would have been it. Yeah? Because Billy Joe wasn't making millions of dollars. That fight would have been the end, more or less, of Chris Eubank Jr.'s career. He certainly wouldn't have been making millions for random ass fights. Do you understand what I'm saying? The fights where, for example, Eubank versus Liam Williams, that would be a 200 grand fight. Eubank made a couple mil for that, if you get what I'm saying. Those things just wouldn't exist. So, in certain circumstances in life, I'd sit there and say, you know what, Chris Sr., you're being out of order, you're being overbearing. Your son's his own man, he's got his own life. But I'm sorry, yeah, when you use the clout of your dad, when you absorb that clout, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh Dad, I wanna pinch your clout. Oh Dad, what's the word? Oh yeah, Dad, I'm gonna hang on your coattails and use the clout you've built for 20 years to benefit myself. But then, at the same time, I don't want to hear from you. And that don't work. Listen, Eubank Jr., yeah? If you don't want the clout from your dad, if you don't want your dad's input, yeah? I'll tell you what to do. Change your second name. Don't talk about him. And just pull up. Chris Jr., yeah, could have pulled up with his name changed and said, listen, I'm a random ass Don. For example, I'm pretty sure Eubank does have another son with a different name. Don't no one hear about that guy. Oops, and he's still boxing. Oops, do you understand? Yeah? And I think someone even said that. It might have been Nigel Benn, actually. Nigel Benn's got a child. I forgot his name. Is it Harlem? Is it Harley Benn? It might be Harley Benn. I think it's Harley Benn. Anyway, Harley Benn was slagging his dad off, Nigel Benn. Essentially saying, Dad, you ain't never been there for me and whatever else. Nigel Benn replied to that and said, listen, if you don't like me, change your second name. Oops. Now, obviously, it's a bit more complex than that when you've got father and son relationships and it's messy and whatnot. But so I think Nigel Benn was being a bit, what's the word, insensitive. Yeah, obviously Harley Benn's probably hurting at the fact that his dad hasn't been around, which is fair enough. Yeah, but still, the principle ain't lying. Especially when Senior isn't one of them dads. Chris Senior hasn't just come back to see his son since his son's been boxing. No, Senior's actually raised. Senior isn't a fly-by-night dad. We see them often in sports and in kind of fame and whatnot, where dads haven't been around and then they jump back on the scene when their son or daughter's popping. Senior, in all fairness to him, he's been there from day one for Junior. So he really has built a right almost to be involved. Do you know what I'm saying? Because he gives you everything else. Do you know what I'm saying? Eubank Jr. weren't complaining when his purses have been instantly 10x'd. That instant interest, that's all because of his dad. It's all of it, none of it. It's anything to do with Junior. Like I said earlier, even since then, fair enough, yeah, I'd feel a lot more on Junior's side if, for example, it was the case that, well, YB, look what Junior's gone on to do for himself. Yeah? If Junior had made certain actions and certain calls to form his own legacy, you could almost say, well, YB, at this point, Junior's almost bought himself out of that situation. Look at what he's done in his own right. YB, Chris Jr. went in there with Triple G and knocked Triple G out. Not even knocked, but beat Triple G, for example. At that point, you say, listen, man, I'm sorry, Senior. You never did that in your own career. So I think Junior's surpassed the level you're at. Yeah? Chris Jr. went in there and schooled Golovkin. Or better yet, even, for example, Chris Jr. going in there and schooling Billy Joe. Let's start there. Can't even do that. Can't even beat old-ass Groves. So which tells me, at all the big fights, yeah, Eubank's lost. And or ducked them all. So at this, where are we at? Why is Chris Eubank Jr. making millions of dollars? That's what it comes down to. If Chris Jr. yeah wants to be his own boss, what has he done to own? What's he done to create that? What have you done to earn being your own boss? Because so far, let's write down all the reasons, yeah, Eubank Jr. is making millions of dollars. Is it because he beat Billy Joe? Is it because he beat George Groves? Is it because he challenged Golovkin? Is it... What is it? Because we know it's not because he's earned it. He ain't beat no one. Eubank Jr. hasn't even fought for a world championship belt. And he's making millions of dollars. That there in itself is proof. No one in the history of sport has made millions of dollars in boxing without being world champion. So the fact Eubank is still doing that tells us it's nothing to do with him. There's no boxer in the history of the sport, who has lost to people like Billy Joe, lost to people like Groves, not won a world championship, and then are getting paid $2 million to fight Liam Williams in a sold-out show. That just doesn't exist. And if I'm wrong, show me. Show me the people out there, who are making millions of dollars after losing to Groves, after losing to Billy Joe, and never holding a world championship belt. Give me the examples. There aren't any. Which means, to this day, Eubank really has just sucked off his dad's... His dad had to go in there and put in hard effort and have 20 world championship fights, or whatever it was. Junior's career is literally a 99% function of his dad, still to this day. He's never gone out on his own and taken his own risks. But that's the truth of it. Because normally in boxing, to earn millions of dollars and to get the kind of spotlight Junior has, you'd have to take real risks. You'd have to win real fights. He ain't done that. Junior's literally happy to sit back and just suck off the clout. So some people will say, well, YB Junior's his own man. No, he ain't his own man. If he was his own man, he'd have shown that. And that's why, to some extent, I respect Conor Benn more, because Conor Benn, given how early he is in his career, he has actually genuinely tried to make his own path. Even taking this fight against Eubank is an example of that, I feel. He didn't need to do this. Ben could have said, you know what, it's too big, I'm gonna avoid that one as such. Now Ben, at 24 years old, he's already on the path to world championship in one of the hardest divisions. That's something we can never say about Eubank at 33 years old. So I have to admit, over the years I've felt that senior's just too much, but really he's right. I'm sorry. Listen, Junior, you don't have a career. You're trying to give it a big one with the McLaren and the Floyd Mayweather, but you ain't Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is a good example, actually, of... Floyd Mayweather is a good example of a man who did earn his stuff. Yeah, his dad and his uncle put him on half, but look what Floyd did. Floyd took it and elevated it. Floyd earned the right to be his own man. Junior hasn't. Junior's actually reduced the clout of the Ben name, of the Eubank name. No one in their right mind can convince me Eubank Jr. has elevated the Ben name. If anything, he's made a clown show of it. That's the facts. Yeah? Because there's no way Eubank would have lost to Billy Joe. I'm sorry, don't believe it. No way. I don't believe that. I don't believe Billy Joe would have beat Eubank Senior. And there you go then. That's the be-all. That's the start and the end of it. And really, Eubank Jr.'s actions, like ducking Golovkin, like chatting shit about Groves and then doing nothing in the fight, time and time again, Junior's been really a letdown, I've got to be honest. And if I'm wrong, you tell me, what actions has Junior taken in his 10-year career to really show he's serious? There's none. So yeah, you do need to act like a daddy's boy, because you're a daddy's boy, bottom line. You've done nothing to make your own legacy. Your whole existence is about, ooh, I'm daddy's boy. So yeah, play your role. Yeah? Junior needs to be carrying on how his dad expects, like a good little boy, because that's how he is, 100%. Yeah? All the things you have are a function of your father. Holly, yeah? There's absolutely no value. There's nothing that's happened in Eubank's life that's been a function of him. Okay, he worked hard in a gym. So does every other fighter. I don't guarantee you $2 million to fight Liam Chiniums. Yeah, that's what he don't do. Everyone can work hard. So yeah, Junior really, he does need to humble himself. He doesn't have any, I don't think Junior has any rights at all in his own life. I just don't think he does. I think if Senior tells him to start jumping on the spot, like a kangaroo, that's what he should be doing. Because he hasn't earned it. Now, if you want to go and take up tennis, and somewhere that your dad's name don't mean nothing, go do that. But you didn't do that. These guys, they all strategically chose, oh look, my dad's famous in that sport, let me jump on that and milk off and hang off them coattails. And boxing really is one of them rare sports where everyone does it. Ricky Hatton's son. Everyone, boxing's no other sports like that. Very rarely, yeah, in other sports do family members just start jumping on the bandwagon. Of course it happens, but it's not like as bad as boxing. Anyone who has a son, they try it, don't they? Literally, the whole lot of them. I'm trying to think, what famous families don't have kids trying to pull the game in the UK? What big names are there in the UK boxing, yeah, where the kids haven't tried it? I'm trying to think, there just ain't none. I guess, has Kawasaki got kids? But Kawasaki is still quite young. I'm not sure. Anyway, man, listen. Senior, airing out. Junior, aired him out well and truly. Punked Floyd as well. And what Senior is basically saying is, Senior wanted and wants his son to be about substance. Instead, we've seen what he's really about. He's about clownery. And with all due respect, I did tell you this a month ago, 2 months ago, when this fight was announced. I told you the conversation me and Senior had. Everyone said, oh, YB, making it up. Oops. Yeah? Senior sees Junior as a clown. And what do we know? 2 months later, 2 months after the YB told you that, he telling you for himself. And the fact that Junior was prepared to continue going into the fight with a man who potentially was juiced, that's why Senior's pissed off. Because Senior feels like, wait a minute, you're putting my legacy, not yours, you're putting my legacy, and you're putting the key institution, i.e. me beating Nigel Benn, that's a key institution in the Eubank, or in Eubank Senior's life. You're putting all of that at risk. Even more so now that it's juicy. For what? So you can be a clown and lose potentially, and then what? That's the problem. Junior doesn't have no appreciation for what it took, and that's what Senior said. I'm the one who had to get punched up in the losses. I'm the one who had to get a big juicy pork pie. You're not. So it's easy for you to say, yeah, no worries, Conor Benn's juiced out of his mind, I'll just go in there and lose whilst I'm being rate drained and no problems. All Eubank Jr. has really done yet is extract value from his dad's hard work. His dad works hard, and then he just carries on losing to everyone. That's the bottom line, people. His dad spends 20 years building a name, and all he does is lose to Billy Joe, lose to Groves, lose to Conor Benn. And Conor Benn was the last straw. You heard Senior. Senior said, I've completely removed myself from it now. I don't feel anything about Junior as it comes to the sport, because he don't have no shame. Yeah? He will lose to anyone for some money. However, the Eubank versus Ben, that was the line in the sand for Senior. Senior went on that. Yeah, that's the final straw. He's not having that. I'm not having you doing this one. Yeah, losing to George Groves, losing to Billy Joe is bad enough. I'm not having you getting whooped by a midget. The midget Ben at that. Yeah? And that's why Senior picked the phone up and leaked to Daily Mail. I've got more videos coming soon, more exclusive evidence. Senior was the individual that actually called it into Daily Mail. Yeah? That's what the facts, that's what the leaks show. The leaks show Senior was the one who ultimately pulled the plug on this fight. He wasn't prepared for Junior to lose to Conor Benn. Yeah? Not in a month of Sundays. Of all the things Junior has taken from Senior, he weren't going to allow this to be another one. Because all Junior sees this as is a money grab. Well, if I turn up weight drained and against a juicy opponent and I lose, oh well, got 5 mil. No, it's not about that. Yeah? Senior didn't put in 20 years of hard work for just to cash it out. So I rate that. I rate Senior being honest. Yeah? A lot of people in this day and age, they tittle-tattle round. Oh well, he's my son, he can do what he wants. No, you can't do what you want. You could do what you want with your own name, not with my name. Especially as a namesake. And that's why people, need to be very careful when you name your son after you. Yeah? Especially if you're super famous. Because you end up, look at this situation here. Junior is the opposite of Senior. Let's be real now. He's the opposite. What value has he actually added? I've said it before. Go on. Tell me. Tell me which fight Junior's had where you can say, look, he added value to the Eubank name. Oops, there ain't none. But yeah, I salute Senior for being real. It's hard to do this. Most people just want to shill. Every parent says, oh, my son's the best. No, your son ain't the best. Oops. Yeah? Your son is a value sucker. Just sucks value from things. Sucks the juice, sucks the coin out of things. That's what Eubank Jr. does. He doesn't give nothing back. He just takes. And now he has the cheek to tell his dad, yeah, sling your hook. I'm making my own decisions. I'm making my own decisions with your name and your clout. Nah, man, that's rank. Anyway, smash the like button, subscribe, and your man the YB will be back 100% confirmed.